GSP on the bottom is starting to spread all over. Massalaya coral is bubbling up. Cut the flow. Our mushroom corals. Time to add the food so we can allow all these corals to eat. Oh look, here comes a foul fish. A1A Adventures fam! Welcome back to another episode of A1A Adventures. If it's your first time here or if you've been back, welcome back. My name is Adam. Today we are going to go through my routine and some aquarium tips and tricks that I would like to share with you that I personally use, swear by, live by, and use every day when I take care of my fish and my aquariums. And that entails the food that I use, the minerals that I use in the water, as well as simple care that I personally live by, swear by, and once again, that I do personally every day. And this video is not sponsored, so here's some free shout outs to the awesome companies and brands that I use personally. Let's get to it. If it's your first time here or if you've been here before, welcome to my mini coral reef tank. If you haven't seen it before, and if you have, I'm sure you're aware that it did take over a year to sustain this coral tank and allow it to balance and to blossom into an amazing mini coral reef. Unfortunately, no gain sometimes without a loss. We did lose some coral in the interim. However, I did learn a lot from trials and tribulations on what to do, what worked, and what didn't work. And with proper, intense care, has recently made a lot of our coral start to spread. As you can see, the GSP on the bottom is starting to spread all over that mini coral frag rack. We have mushrooms that are starting to split before our own eyes, the Redactus mushrooms. Our mushroom corals, also known as disc anemones, have now multiplied into several, actually 8. The Montipora is finally growing back the centerpiece since we moved our baby mantis shrimp out of this coral tank, and now, obviously, the lights, if you've seen, are 2 different lights that we're using on this mini reef, as well as mentioned in our other videos, and how to modify your fluval aquarium into a mini coral reef has allowed this coral to sustain and regrow its flesh as a thriving coral in this tank. Massalaya coral is bubbling up and eating voraciously as well. And to be transparent, not everything is easy. We did have this clownfish and another baby clownfish as well in a tank, and unfortunately the anemone did not make it. It wasn't the most cycled tank, but the tank was cycled for over a month. It just was not good enough, and I think the levels, of course, were not up to par, causing the anemone to slowly wither away over a course of 8 weeks. And this clownfish, oh, what a demon, where are you at? This little clownfish right over there, yeah, that thing started to get very territorial and did away with its tank mate. These are Ocellaris clownfish, and naturally clownfish are cannibalistic, so they need to basically have a place to stay, and they will become territorial over that place to stay and wherever they choose to claim as their home. So be very cautious when entering into the clownfish. Make sure you use caution, obviously, when you do add clownfish in pairs or even in multiples in any saltwater aquarium. As the bubble tip anemone that we did have with these clownfish was a beauty, and it did go through a tank change as we had to upgrade the tank for the clownfish, and it just didn't end up the way we thought it was going to end up. But that is okay, because anybody in the fish hobby knows it's never a perfect sail, it's never a perfect journey without some loss along the way. It just happens. Even sometimes I've met people that had their whole entire coral tank completely die on them. That, well, fortunately, has never happened on my behalf or in my world at A1A Adventures, but we have lost some fish, and as a part of the aquarium hobby, well, it just happens, whether you like it or not. And if you have lost any fish, or if you've ever had any encounters of any crazy moments or catastrophic ones in the aquarium hobby, comment down below. Let us know what happened in your tank, what did you do to solve it, and any relation towards anything in this video, let us know. Now, the minerals that I personally prefer, I buy them in bulk, I just do save the little bottles so I can go ahead and use them as a refiller, is by Kent. They're awesome. It's a part A and a part B. I add these daily. Now, as far as how many drops for my 10-gallon tank is right under the recommended par. So I always do a little bit less, as I've always found less is more. So on that note, let's add some minerals to our mini reef. Starting with part A. These also work great in adding proper minerals to any crustacean-filled tank as well, which here is our mantis shrimp tank. So I do add slightly, just very, since there obviously is no coral in this tank, just enough to allow proper molts to take place, and crustaceans need minerals in order to help them shed their shells to continue thriving and have a happy, healthy life. Now in our reef tank, as we only have one fish in this reef tank, and it's a little filefish. Let's go right here and zoom in on this little baby. Now this filefish is excellent in eating aptasias, as we do have sometimes an aptasia problem in here. There's little mini ones that are similar to an anemone, of like a disc anemone, except they do have powerful stinging nettles on them that can sting your corals, and they do travel and relocate around the tank, and they move. So this filefish does an amazing job at keeping any aptasia infestation at bay. So on that note, let's add some minerals to keep this reef tank healthy. I add anywhere from 8 to 10 drops in this reef tank daily. As it suggests, 14 drops. So once again, I keep it under par. And in this tank we have starfish, we have the clownfish, we have hermit crabs, and we have another little funky crab here that definitely sheds its molt frequently. So in this tank, once again, similar to the mantis shrimp, just a few drops will do. 3-4 drops, that's it. Done. In a 10-gallon saltwater aquarium. Now in between applying the part A and part B is a 5-minute wait period it suggests on the back to allow the water to absorb a certain amount of minerals without it contradicting and interfering with the part B. So we're going to wait 5 minutes. You guys will only have to wait probably 5 seconds, but now we're going to go ahead and add the part B. Part B, let's go. 5 minutes is up. Let's go ahead and add this calcium, baby. That's it, same amount, about 3 to 4 drops, and it will go ahead and dissolve in the water, as you can see, as it is a milky solvent solution, which is high in calcium, and that will allow healthy molts and healthy corals, especially stony corals, as many corals do require that essential mineral balance and nutrition in order to keep growing, multiply for cellular and skin generation. It is a very important imperative addition and additive to all of your aquatics and reef tanks. So once again, it does suggest 14 drops. I usually apply about 10, maybe 12, a little bit extra, since we do have, that'll do. To the GSP absolutely loves it, as it definitely, in my opinion, has contributed to the spread, the rapid spread so recently, as I've been adding a little more minerals than usual on a frequent basis. Because before I was only doing this about 3 to 4 times a week. Now, as all of the corals have been multiplying a lot more fast and more rapidly, especially adding 2 different lights to this tank. Let's do the same for this baby. It's again about 3 drops. There you go, and it will dissolve. Will not cloud up the tank. Make sure all your tanks are cycled well, you'll have no problem. On that note of cycling your tank, if you haven't had a cycled tank, or if you're trying to achieve a well-balanced nitrogen cycle and start a tank, and you've noticed that there's been some cloudy phases, or you just want to jumpstart it a little bit, in my experience, adding a little bit of ammonia has definitely helped that boost to clear up. And by doing that, all you need is a shrimp tail. Get a raw shrimp. Even if you have a cooked piece of shrimp, that's fine. Raw shrimp always works the best. Break off the tail off the shrimp, drop it in the tank. Make sure you have some cleanup crew of some sort, whether it's a hermit crab, starfish, anything that will eat and break down that matter and allow that nitrogen cycle to take place. That will help a lot and help it boost. Now, if it's a large tank, if it's anywhere of a 40 to 50 gallon or larger, I would drop a whole shrimp in there. Break it in 2, break it in 3, spread it throughout the tank. Just make sure you have some animal, some creature, or fish of any choice that you choose that will be able to properly break that down, so we can go ahead and boost that cycle up. And if you've sometimes I wait until the end of a cycling period in order to do this, because that is the jump start that I need in order to make it clear up and move on. So you can go ahead and add different coral and all other fish that you desire to your aquarium. Time to shake up some good stuff too. Now, once again, as a reminder, none of these products are sponsored. This is just what I choose to use, and this is Dr. G's natural live phytoplankton that does require refrigeration. Now, I do switch off from different phytoplanktons from time to time. This one stays pretty fresh and well concentrated, as if you don't shake it up, a lot of the green stuff stays on the bottom, and that's it. Just shake it up and ready to go. Now, you'll only need just a little bit, maybe about 1/3 of a capful for these 3 tanks. I add a little bit in all of them. There are some feather dusters in here, so I know they do love their phytoplankton, so I just add a little swig. Bloop, that's it. To the reef tank. Bloop, that's it. That will dissolve. Oh, look, the filefish. You smell that? Do you want that? And the remaining go into this tank right here. Now, it also assists in keeping the water crystal clear, as these are little microbial cleaning crews that will turn into live little phytoplankton. So it is imperative as well as adding this to your tanks in any shape, way, or form. I like the refrigerated live kind. You can get freeze-dried, already not alive phytoplankton if you do have filter feeders that do thrive off phytoplankton as well. And for saving my reef many times, on that note, that freeze-dried phytoplankton that I choose, once again, not sponsored, I can only do this as a giant thank you to this company, is right here. Polyp Labs Reefroids, lifesaver. And you can use this several times a week. I haven't been using it as much lately. I've been a little more on top of my frequent water changes, about once a week rather than every other week. And now that we've added a fish to keep those nitrates and nitrites low, I have been changing that water a little more aggressively every week. And this is some concentrated stuff. When you open it up, it definitely smells yummy. It smells like seafood and shrimp, actually. It doesn't smell too bad whatsoever. My two best friends for this is going to be a small dish of any size or choice you choose, and a turkey baster or feeding tube if you have to use one. We are going to add a very small amount, as we already did add some phytoplankton in here. I like to use the little seal that it comes with to scoop it. That'd be nice, Polyp Labs, if you actually add a little scoop in there. I know that would be a little more costly for the company to do, but until then, that works. Now, this is more than enough that we need right now for this serving. So what I'm going to do is I take a little water out, and time to add the roids, the reef juice to the reef. We'll go ahead and I kind of suck it in and out to mix it up, and that's it. Now that it's been pretty much fully dissolved, go ahead, cut the flow, meaning no water flow, so we can allow all these corals to eat peacefully. Time to add the food. Let's go. All right. So now these green star polyps right here are going to enjoy this. You're going to see it. They're all going to go in. Now you see all the phytoplankton making its way into those polyps. Oh, look, here comes a filefish. Hello. I know, that's yummy. You want some of that? Go ahead. Filefish obviously loves this too, as it is perfect nutrition for any reef, and fish love this. Sometimes I do have a fishy mixture that I'll show you in a few. That's a mix of mysis shrimp, raw shrimp, and lobster that I do mix with this as a treat once a month for this reef tank. I'm not going to bore you with an entire coral tank feeding, but a lot of the corals do love this. As you're going to see, the Duncan corals too will retract and take this in. Go Duncans. Didn't retract as aggressive as the GSP, the green star polyps, but we even have the shrimp coming out. Everything loves this. So they will slowly eat the reefroids in addition to any other food that you do add to this tank. Now, look, come here, little shrimp, come here. What are you doing? So you can go ahead and add this. You can either cut the flow off if you want to spot feed it, which we're target feeding right now, or you can go ahead and leave the flow on and just let it go and have your way with it. So all of the corals do get target fed individually. Individual feedings for that matter, and if you have anything left over, just like I have a little bit left over in this dish right here, I just go ahead and just dump it on top of my desired corals that I want to have a little bit more, or in the areas that I do want to have a little bit more. Very simple. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I know. Sometimes people say it is so easy. You make it look so easy. However, I've had a lot of problems. Sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error, and trials and tribulations, and time, effort, and a little bit of error on there just to learn yourself to what works for you. Not every reef is the same. Not every variety of coral species you're going to have that coexist in the same aquarium is going to react the same way either. So you need to take practice, do proper diligent research on all the corals that you are introducing into your aquarium prior to just jumping into the reef tank hobby. And this video was just a short introduction and a simple 101 on how I keep my coral reef tanks up to par and allow them to grow and steadily stay healthy from me to you. If there's anything in addition that I did not tackle in this video, go ahead and comment below. I will be more than happy to answer questions. If not, I will make an additional video on subjects that you guys contribute. Woo, look at that shrimp, loving this phytoplankton, in our future content. We also have freshwater fish, so we will go ahead and make videos on the freshwater fish care as far as filtration, feeding, and much more. So make sure you stay tuned for new A1A Adventures, Reef Aquarium, and fish tank videos. So like this video, please, if you can, subscribe to this channel, turn those notifications on so you see all the new updates that we have in any fish care or any aquatic videos that we put out soon. We hope all aquarium hobbyists and adventurists to stay adventurous out there, and once again, thank you so much for watching this video. This was a short introduction as these shrimp fight over all this delicious matter that we added to this coral reef tank. So let's put back the flow. And on to the next one we go. A1A Adventures. And in the future, we're definitely going to show you how to remove algae.